Picture this in your mind. Imagine a single private company, born from the dreams of three engineers in a diner, becoming so powerful, so astronomically valuable, that it eclipses the entire economic output of the United Kingdom. Not just one big British company, not just the City of London, the entire combined value of every publicly traded company in the nation that birthed the Industrial Revolution and once ruled a quarter of the world. Now add France to that list. The cultural and economic heart of continental Europe, the home of luxury giants, aerospace titans, and centuries of economic history, also surpassed. And for good measure, throw in Germany, the undisputed industrial and economic engine of Europe, the titan of engineering and manufacturing, left trailing in the dust. This isn't a far-fetched science fiction plot. This is not a hypothetical scenario from a distant future. This is the world we woke up to today. This is the reality created by one name that has come to define our era, Nvidia. Today, we are not just talking about a successful company. We are dissecting a phenomenon, a financial earthquake whose tremors are rearranging the very foundations of global power. This is the story of how a maker of computer chips achieved a valuation of $4 trillion United States dollars, a number so vast it's hard for the human mind to even comprehend. We are going to explore how this one entity now represents a significant slice of the entire planet's economic activity. What does this mean for the balance of power, for the future of technology, and for the very fabric of the global economy? In this deep dive, we will pull back the curtain on the jaw-dropping statistics that place Nvidia in a league of its own, a league previously reserved for entire nations. We'll investigate the unstoppable force that propelled it to these heights, the artificial intelligence gold rush. Then, we'll look to the future, where some of the sharpest minds on Wall Street are predicting a future that makes today look quaint, talking about a $10 trillion market cap by the year 2030. And finally, we will ask the most critical question of all. What happens when a corporation's financial might rivals that of a sovereign state, yet it bears none of its responsibilities? Strap in, because the story of Nvidia is the story of the 21st century unfolding right before our eyes. Let's start with the numbers, because they are so staggering they almost feel like a typo. $4 trillion. This is not just a corporate valuation. It is a financial gravity well, a new economic sun in our financial solar system. Let's try to put that into perspective. If you were to stack 4 trillion $1 bills on top of each other, the pile would reach well beyond the moon. It's a figure that has made Nvidia the very first company in the history of the world to cross this monumental threshold. But the true scale of this achievement becomes clear when you measure it not against other companies, but against the world itself. According to the latest data from Bloomberg Finance LP, Nvidia's market value now accounts for a colossal 3.6% of the entire global gross domestic product. Think about every single product sold, every service rendered, every transaction made across the entire planet in a year. Nvidia's valuation is now equivalent to nearly 4 cents of every single one of those dollars. It is a share of the global pie that is simply unprecedented for a single corporate entity. But the most shocking comparisons, the ones that truly highlight this tectonic shift, come when we look at the old guards of the global economy, the historic powerhouses of Europe. The entire equity market of the United Kingdom, the London Stock Exchange, home to giants like Shell, AstraZeneca, and HSBC, with centuries of financial history etched into its very foundations, now accounts for just 3.2% of global GDP. Nvidia has single-handedly flipped the UK, as the analysts say. It is bigger. Let that sink in for a moment. The nation of Shakespeare, the Industrial Revolution, and a global financial hub is now smaller in stock market terms than a single American chipmaker. And it doesn't stop there. France, with its world-leading luxury brands like LVMH and aviation leaders like Airbus, accounts for 3.1%, again smaller than Nvidia. And then there's Germany, Europe's largest and most robust economy, the land of automotive perfection and engineering prowess. Think of the giants of the DAX index: Volkswagen, Siemens, SAP. All of them, plus the rest of the German market, now fit comfortably inside Nvidia's shadow. The total value of all its publicly listed companies represents just 2.8% of global GDP. Nvidia has surpassed the entire German stock market by a staggering 0.8 percentage points. This isn't just a company winning a race. This is a company redefining the racetrack itself, forcing us to question our old maps of economic power. So, how on earth did this happen? What is the secret sauce behind this meteoric, world-altering rise? The answer can be summed up in 2 letters: AI, artificial intelligence. For decades, Nvidia was a brand beloved by a niche but passionate community, PC gamers. Their graphics cards, or GPUs, were the gold standard for rendering realistic, beautiful digital worlds in video games. But a funny thing happened on the way to the virtual battlefield. Researchers discovered that the same architecture that made these cards brilliant at processing millions of pixels in parallel was also uniquely perfect for the complex mathematical calculations required to train artificial intelligence models. Imagine trying to read an entire library one book at a time. That's a traditional computer processor. Now, imagine a million librarians reading a million books all at once. That is what an Nvidia GPU does for data. As the AI revolution exploded, from generative art and chatbots to complex scientific research and drug discovery, the world suddenly developed an insatiable, desperate hunger for Nvidia's chips. They became the picks and shovels in the biggest gold rush of the 21st century. Every tech giant, every startup, every research institution looking to build the future of AI, from predicting protein folding to solve diseases, to creating simulations of our climate to fight global warming, to training the autonomous cars that will soon navigate our city streets, needed Nvidia's hardware to do it. This has created a demand so intense that Nvidia has essentially been able to name its price, leading to profit margins and revenue growth that have shattered all expectations and sent its stock price into the stratosphere. It's an absolutely stunning story of strategic vision meeting a technological tidal wave. If you find this transformation from a gaming company to an AI kingmaker as fascinating as we do us a favor and hit that like button. It really helps us know what kind of stories you want to see more of. Of course, the path wasn't entirely smooth. The United States government, wary of China's technological ambitions, placed restrictions on the export of high-end chips. This was a geopolitical chess move designed to slow a rival's progress in the single most important technology of our time. And it could have been a catastrophic blow, potentially cutting Nvidia off from a massive market. There were also early whispers and concerns within the tech community that emerging, more efficient AI models, like one called DeepSeek, might eventually reduce the future demand for sheer hardware power. Furthermore, competitors are not standing still. Titans like Advanced Micro Devices are fighting for every scrap of market share, while behemoths like Google and Amazon are pouring billions into designing their own custom AI chips, seeking to break free from Nvidia's grasp. But Nvidia has navigated these challenges with incredible skill. Instead of collapsing, it pivoted with the agility of a startup half its size, developing new, compliant chips and strengthening its position in other markets. In fact, its momentum has only accelerated, partly fueled by a recent and perhaps surprising easing of trade tensions between Washington and Beijing, reopening doors that were thought to be closing. The company has become a master of navigating the complex intersection of technology and geopolitics. But if you think $4 trillion is the summit of the mountain, you need to listen to what some analysts on Wall Street are saying. They believe Nvidia is not at the peak. It's merely at a base camp, looking up at a much, much higher summit. Take Beth Kindig, for instance. She's the lead tech analyst at the influential IO fund, and she's not just bullish on Nvidia. She's making a prediction that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. Kindig and her fund have projected that Nvidia's market capitalization could reach a mind-bending $10 trillion by the year 2030. Let's pause to comprehend that. $10 trillion. That's more than double its current, already historic valuation. What on earth could possibly justify such a number? Kindig's thesis is that Nvidia's leadership in the AI space is so entrenched, its technological moat so wide, that its growth is only just beginning. This isn't just about selling more chips, it's about building an entire ecosystem. Their CUDA software platform is the operating system for the AI revolution. Once developers learn to build on CUDA, it is incredibly difficult and costly to switch. It's a strategic masterpiece of a moat that competitors find nearly impossible to cross. She projects that the company can sustain nearly 19% in annual returns, year after year, all the way through the end of this decade. A $10 trillion valuation would make Nvidia more valuable than the current economies of Japan and Germany combined. We would be witnessing the birth of a financial superpower on a scale that has no precedent in human history. This incredible projection brings us to a crucial and sobering point of discussion. While Nvidia may rival and even surpass entire nations in market value, it's critically important to remember that companies and countries serve fundamentally different purposes. This isn't just an academic distinction, it has profound implications. A country, at its core, is responsible for the well-being of its citizens. It provides public goods, things like roads, hospitals, public schools, and a social safety net. It carries out the core functions of a government, maintaining national defense, administering justice, and managing public infrastructure. A country's success is measured in the health, education, and prosperity of its people. A company, on the other hand, has a different primary directive: to maximize value for its shareholders. Its success is measured in revenue, profit margins, and stock price. Nvidia, for all its $4 trillion, does not build roads in Ohio, fund hospitals in Paris, or pay for the pensions of citizens in the United Kingdom. Consider this: Nvidia's annual research and development budget is larger than the entire scientific funding of many developed nations. This means a private, for-profit entity is making some of the most fundamental decisions about which scientific paths humanity will explore. When Nvidia decides to prioritize AI for financial trading over AI for climate modeling, that choice has global consequences, yet it is made in a boardroom, not a parliament. And this is where the conversation gets complicated. When a single company holds this much financial power, its decisions can have ripple effects that are global in scale, impacting economies and societies far beyond its corporate headquarters. Its influence on policy, on research, and on the very direction of technological development becomes immense. It raises profound questions about corporate responsibility in the 21st century. What obligations does a $10 trillion company have to the world? What happens when its corporate interests, driven by the need for profit, diverge from the public interest? We are entering uncharted territory, a new era where the lines between corporate power and state power are becoming increasingly blurred. So, let's bring it all together. The ascent of Nvidia to a $4 trillion colossus is far more than just another headline from the financial world. It is a powerful symbol of a massive shift happening right now. It is the story of how one technology, artificial intelligence, is radically reordering the world, creating wealth on a scale never seen before, and concentrating power in ways we are only just beginning to understand. The fact that a chipmaker can be worth more than the entire stock markets of the UK, France, and Germany is a testament to where the world believes the future is headed. The predictions of a $10 trillion future show that the architects of this new world believe the revolution has only just begun. But the distinction between a company and a country serves as a vital reminder that with great financial power must come even greater consideration of its impact. The story of Nvidia is the ultimate story of innovation, market dynamics, and the dawn of the age of AI. The new empires of the 21st century may not be built on land or with armies, but with code and processing power. The question that remains for all of us is not if this technology will reshape our planet, but who will ultimately wield the incredible power it creates. For this moment in history, a very large piece of that power has a name, and that name is Nvidia. What are your thoughts on this incredible story? Do you believe the $10 trillion prediction is possible? Or are we witnessing a historic bubble? We'd love to read your take in the comments below.
And if you want to stay ahead of the curve on the biggest stories shaping our economy and our world, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell.
You won't want to miss what we have coming up next.